Liverpool on Saturday night was a very interesting case study in what could have been for Liverpool. I mean, Nat Phillips and Xherdan Shaqiri, two of the stars of the show, two players who could easily be playing football with different clubs right now. Nat Phillips, how impressed were you with his performance? I think he got man of the match in the end.
He did. He was exceptional. I think the way they probably dressed up was they probably expected Mikel Antonio, and they thought, we need someone who's going to be, Liverpool were thinking, we need someone who's going to be strong, physical in the air, who's going to be able to battle with Antonio. I touched on it with you with Henderson playing centre half, that I wasn't a fan of it because I felt that, Antonio, now I know he didn't play in the end, but he would have bullied him in the way that they were going. Like Thomas Haller is still Sebastian Haller, is another big, strong fella that, is going to knock. And I think he dealt with it, and everything that came his way, he dealt with. Look, when you're playing at Anfield, you're going to have the lion's share of possession, and everything he did right. And you saw in his post-match interview where he said, it was kind of for me to get up to speed, but do it simple. He won his headers, he kept it, knocked it wide, just defended well. And I think it was a good all-round performance. But the adrenaline of that game, of being like, his Premier League debut, I know it was his second appearance, but it would have been massive. And, it just shows you that Liverpool can rely on other players, but at the same time, it wasn't a glorious performance. It wasn't fantastic. But the big thing is you touched on there, Shaqiri. Like, Shaqiri looked like his Liverpool career was more or less over. If you look at the back end of last season, he was kind of getting 5 and 10 minutes here. Now, in the last few games, he's really made an impact. Even when he's come on, he's kind of, you always look for substitutes to come on and impact the game or change the game. Can you do something, And you look at Shaqiri coming on, getting the assist for Jota's goal. I know Jota also had one for, ruled out. And it is massive because now Liverpool to me look like, certainly like, say, a team of champions where they're winning even though they're not playing the free-flowing, football that we're used to from the front three or whatever. It's not firing all cylinders for them, but they're finding ways to win, which is the most important thing. Because at the end of the day, if you look back at last year when Liverpool won the Premier League, if you asked me Liverpool's opening 6 fixtures, you wouldn't remember, those games at Christmas when they had to battle it out, on your Tuesday, Saturday. People don't remember them. It's just they remember that Liverpool won the Premier League, and it certainly feels to me like they're finding ways to win.
Yeah, it's kind of mad, isn't it? That, like, it's such a credit to Klopp, I think, in this regard, that he basically came out. I know he said with Phillips publicly, I'd be happy enough for him to leave, and like he could be playing with Bolton now, for example. Yeah. And he basically was the same with Shaqiri. The message was loud and clear that you are not in the immediate plans of this club. And they still put in a performance like that. That ability to bring a player back into the fold and put the trust in the player and the trust the player feels back. Like, again, you can't say enough good things about Klopp in recent years, but he does deserve credit for that, you feel?
No, 100%. Like with Shaqiri and him coming out, it's kind of like, look, Shaqiri will want to play week in, week out. He'll feel he's good enough. He'll feel he's good enough to play week in, week out for Liverpool. That's the type of character. That's why you're in the game, to play week in, week out. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench. And he's probably had, conversations with Klopp behind closed doors where he said, I want to play more. And he said, look, I can't guarantee you the minutes. I'm happy for you, to look elsewhere if you want. And Shaqiri's probably turned and gone, do you know what? I want to stay. I want to fight for my place. It's Liverpool have that good environment. Obviously they've had, which comes from the success they've had with winning the Premier League and the Champions League, where these fellas have, got a taste of it and they don't want to lose it. And you look at fellas like Shaqiri, they want to stay there and they want to battle. And then the biggest thing is when you get opportunities, whether they be 5, 10, 15 minutes, you've got to make an impact. And that's the big thing. Shaqiri is, Jota is. Like, there's Liverpool's front three have been untouched for, the last 3-4 seasons. Yeah. But now Jota, there's question marks now. Can Jota start? Do we accommodate and put Mane or Salah through the middle and, swap and change and then fit Jota in to drop Firmino? Liverpool have never had that problem because it has always been that front three. But now, I suppose if every Liverpool fan loves watching Firmino play, he's fantastic at what he does. Like, in my opinion, he's one of the best in the world at what he does. But at the same time, I have to be realistic. He's not scoring enough goals. Like, for a striker that's playing in a team that's winning, he needs to be scoring double digits every season, and he's not getting enough goals.
Do you think then that like that front three is under real threat from Jota? Like, is the lack of goals not made up with everything else he does?
I think if you want to be, champions year after year, if they want to be winning trophy after trophy, you need your front three firing at all cylinders. I even look at, the midfielders. Probably Firmino is the only one that would get out of it, but certainly your Wijnaldum, Henderson, Thiago, those ones who might play a little bit more advanced. Yes, of course, Thiago does like to play a little bit deeper at times, but if Firmino and Thiago play, you'd be expecting them to get at least 5 goals a season. And I'd be certainly looking at someone like a Wijnaldum who's, scores big goals in big games, but he should be aiming for, double digits nearly. If you look at a team like Liverpool who create so much. So then the question goes back to, I wouldn't say Mane and Salah are under threat. I think I don't even want to say it because the one I love the most is Firmino, and I know that the work he does is so underrated that people don't appreciate it. It's not like people are quick to compare him to, say, Harry Kane or whatever, that you look at the goals Harry Kane scores, whether they be penalties or not. Harry Kane is still chalking out 20 goals a season. But it's a new one for Jurgen that he has someone who really is with Jota. He's really knocking on the door to say, like, he's putting his hand up because, look, the games he's played, whether he started or come off the bench, he's really made a difference, and it does look like a fantastic signing.
Is he a centre forward? Is he the same type of player? Is he a 9?
No, I don't think he's a 9, but I do think like he can play left side or right side. So then they're going to swap. They're going to put Salah through the middle or Mane through the middle and work that way. We saw that in the Champions League when he came on. Mane went through the middle. So it's. I don't think inevitably it will be Jota for Firmino, but it won't be. It will be a change in the sense that it will be, Mane will have to move into the middle or Salah will have to move into the middle.
We might just finish up on Chelsea here, David, just because a very interesting tactical shift on Saturday. They moved to a 4-3-3, Mount, Kante and Havertz, the midfield 3, but Hakim Ziyech up front just looked unreal. You had Tammy Abraham dropping deep as more of a withdrawn number 9, with Werner and Ziyech in more advanced roles. Ziyech gets the headlines. What did you make of his performance, and how sustainable is this? Because he is the one that people have been saying in recent weeks, wait for him to get into the team and then Chelsea will really start rolling. No,
look, I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched him 100 times. I watched him enough with Ajax in the Champions League that he is a special player. It's his ability to drift, in between the midfield and defence, kind of, coming deep, getting the ball. He can create. That's the thing. He can see a pass. He certainly can dribble. And of course, look, you saw from the game against Burnley, he can score. I think the big thing at that performance was, like obviously you said there, Frank switched to 4-3-3, but it's actually playing N'Golo Kante as the deep line playmaker. He inevitably got rid of Jorginho, dropped him, and then Havertz and Mount, like, they just looked better. Mount certainly, looked more dynamic. If you look, there was many things, highlighted of him in his performance, getting on the ball, dictating play, spreading it. I just think if you have a player like N'Golo Kante, like, I'm not the manager of Chelsea, I don't see him day in, day out, but I can't see him being a problem. But he looks to me like the one that you just have to play him there, because he's been lauded by current players, ex-players, managers as the best holding midfielder in the world. And when he plays there, he just gives Chelsea such a good balance at, turning over possession, winning the ball back, keeping it simple, which then, like you said, you can get the ball forward to your Ziyech's and those type of players where they can go and create and make something happen. And, Ziyech was excellent. He has 2 goals in his last 2 games. Obviously, he struggled with, I think it was a knee injury, but I wouldn't even say Ziyech is up to full speed yet. I think it'll be another 2-3 games for him playing in the Premier League to finally, get a good understanding of it. And I think he'll be an exceptional signing for Chelsea. Yeah,
it's a pretty scary prospect for the rest of the league. David, great to have you with us this morning. Thanks a million.
Cheers, guys.
It's David Motter giving us some thoughts there this Monday morning. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far. 0879 180 180 is the WhatsApp number.